This is unbelievable. And of course, it's been true what people have said, that there's a thing called pandemic, war, and famine. And if this goes through, as we have seen one of them already happen, the war could be kicking off soon. And we've been talking about a war for a couple of years already. And of course, a famine that would follow. But one thing that stood out to me this week, and I'll let you comment on this, David, and we'll go to Jay, is the giant earthquake that happened in Turkey. I mean, we're talking massive, something that I don't remember seeing in a country this successive many earthquakes of this magnitude. February, I think it was the 6th, started on the 6th. There's over 20,000 people confirmed dead. This is the earthquake that happened in the area of Turkey and Syria, and it was felt in Lebanon, of course, the Lebanese border. It was felt all the way to Greenland. I mean, 7.8, 7.7, then massive 6.0s, and then 5.0s. I mean, we're talking, I live in California, so there's plenty of information here about earthquakes, and I felt them and gone through them. This is toppling buildings, collapsing cities, 20,000 people. I mean, to the best estimate, this is going to double. But Jesus spoke of this. Yep. Jesus spoke of this. David, comment on this. We'll go to Jay.
Yep. Earthquakes are getting more intense. Just as Jacob just mentioned, he said the baby's coming. So as you get birth pangs, they get stronger. They get closer together. So we're seeing more of this. And this earthquake was so powerful, it's racking, it's shaking the whole world, as it were. And it's interesting that there was a gentleman that predicted this earthquake 3 days ahead. So they're seeing all sorts of signs, and they're judging by the way the planets line up and its effect with gravitation. And so there's more earthquakes coming, bigger earthquakes. And you talk, this not just destroyed a city, but it destroyed like a whole region. 40, 50,000 people dead. They may never know the exact number, and it'll take them a century to clean up everything. They don't have the money. There's not enough money in the world to clean all this up.
Now, Turkey was already in decline. The lira was absolutely just in decline completely. Jay, this Dutch seismologist, this is what David was talking about. His name, Frank Hogerbeets, did I pronounce it right? Predicted it 3 days before. Now, some people, of course, have speculated, well, this is man-made. This was man-made because somebody predicted it. Now, they have the weapons. They say people have weapons to do this now. And what he said, Frank Hogerbeets says, is he actually predicted it because there was and he actually got even the locations right. This is kind of precise. He noticed and monitored the geometry of celestial bodies, is what he said, especially the moon, and how it was causing some havoc in the magma underneath the Earth's crust. And therefore, it was a matter of time in this region, he said, because he had been tracking it for some time. And then he said there will be aftershocks after this massive earthquake. There'll be aftershocks. He actually predicted it will be around 7.5, which he got it almost on the nose. One was 7.7, one was 7.6, and then a bunch of sixes. But now it's the rest of the world, as David was talking about. Strong earthquakes in Indonesia, one in Buffalo, which they haven't had one there in 30 years at this magnitude. The destabilized fault lines across the world. You and I live here. We've got to think about this, right? But just get your comments on it, and then we'll go to Davey. What do you think? Frank Hogerbeets, he's got his spot on. What do you think about the conspiracy that it was planned? Needless to say, Jesus said it would happen. That's always come down to my perspective, is Jesus said this would happen before he comes. So take it away, Jay.
So it's interesting that the science can predict 3 days before this massive earthquake happens. I can tell you from firsthand experience, people who were not interested in reading anything about Revelation or about Matthew 24 a few days ago or a week ago. Yesterday, I heard a conversation where they were asking, well, how could we know when this is happening? And the person that was talking to them was showing Jesus predicted. And this person is not a believer, and they want to read the book of Revelation now. Wow. So as people are looking to people to prognosticate if things are going to happen, events are going to happen, we as Christians have an evangelistic opportunity to say, we have the diagram, we have the playbook. Would you like to know more? Would you like to be prepared? We have it all down,
Yep.
bit by bit.
Amen.
Yeah, absolutely. It is incredible to think that this is happening within the context and the constellation of other things that have happened in the world. And then it's almost like one thing hits us after another, and people, I guess we said earlier, people are unaware. They don't want to know. Other people don't want to hear about this stuff, but it's undeniable. Now we got the Ataturk Dam that is it's been cracked, and is it going to be possible flooding into different parts of the Middle East? So this has happened in the Middle East. Now Turkey is they have military prowess in terms of Middle East, largest army of Muslims in the world. Significant damage to the ability to strike. Jay, what do you think? Or more aggressiveness?
I think more aggressiveness. I think now that they've had this happen to them, if they did run into crisis, they're going to be going after their neighbors to resolve any shortfalls that they experience. If the dam is gone, they're going to be looking for energy. Well,
Yeah.
They've got energy-rich neighbors that are much less prepared for battle around them.
Yep.
And in times of crisis, this is what happens. They look, they find, and they whatever it takes, they'll get the energy to serve their needs.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is right in the Middle East. I mean, it's Lebanon, it's Syria, massive deaths, and it's a horrific thing. So there has to be much prayer for the gospel to go in there and for people to be saved. And especially as you talked about, people are interested in Revelation because it's there. It's all there. And in what Jesus said, not even in Revelation, but what we said in his Olivet Discourse. Davey, real quick, Matthew 24:7. Can you read that for us?
Yes, sure, no worries. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and in various places there will be famines and earthquakes.
This is
But all these are merely,
yeah, go ahead.
and
Finish that out.
yeah, but all these are merely the beginning of birth pangs.
The birth pangs, famines, earthquakes. Now, we haven't seen a famine to that degree yet, but it usually comes, according to Revelation, with war. There's one that's going to come with the Antichrist, of course, when he steps on the scene. David, what do you think? I mean, is the church ready? I mean,
No.
we're about to see some things that are going to be pretty heavy.
Well, most
The
of the
church
church is apostate. Were you asking
sorry.
me or Davey? I'm
Davey from Australia.
sorry. Sorry,
guys-
Davey. Step on your
you guys
toes there.
should
man.
change name.
No, I don't believe the church is ready. Definitely not. There's a few, few remnant believers, but the mainstream church, no, they're definitely not ready. All they care about is their own lives in this world. As long as it doesn't affect them, they could care less. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but it's pretty much the truth.
Being so far away from us, is there that sort of disconnect, right? Being so, it's over there. It's way out there. What does that have to do with me?
Yes, definitely that is there, and you'll find, look, a lot of these churches will have what do you call it? Not like a fundraiser, but where they'll send financial aid to these countries, which is going to be questionable if it's actually going to get there where it's going. There's already reports that not much aid is getting to Syria that's been given so far. The Ataturk Dam was not the only dam that was being affected too. And the Ataturk Dam has had some structural problems for a while and hasn't been at capacity for a while, but a couple of dams have been destroyed. It's caused flooding in a town in Syria. So the damage in Syria is pretty bad too, and they're not getting the aid. But the churches here, they'll think, oh, I've sent my money, I've done my bit, that's it. And they'll just get on with their life.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, I remember the New Zealand earthquake. I mean, there's some earthquakes down in that area. The New Zealand earthquake in Christchurch was pretty strong.
Marco, can I add something?
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is that that even the world at some point is knowing something's going on. During the COVID crisis, and I don't respect the New York Times, but they said the preppers were right. And a lot of Christians are knowing that the situations that Jesus spoke about, they're trying to prepare the best they can for the things that lie ahead, which would be famine, which would be having medical kits and having all sorts of things, and to do the best job they can to be able to go as far down the road as they can. And so, but that's just one aspect of people that see the world as bad, but Christians should know where all this is going. But we know there were guys like Rick Warren who 15 or 20 years ago said, quit studying prophecy. And he influenced 300,000 pastors. I think that was the right, maybe 150,000 were
Just
listening
about.
to him and spreading his same message. Don't worry about prophecy. Don't teach it. Don't worry about it. It's not for now. Well, Mr. Warren, the time is at hand.